A warm welcome to the newsroom. I am Fidelia Aguncha. 4 days after it recorded its index case of COVID-19, Kano State has confirmed its first death from the disease. Details of the death were not given, but the State Ministry of Health says there are 21 total cases of COVID-19 in Kano State. Elsewhere, the Lagos State chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association has announced the death of Chugbo Emeka, a medical doctor who died after being exposed to a COVID-19 patient at his private clinic. He reportedly died at the isolation ward of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Luth. Nigeria currently has 407 confirmed COVID-19 cases, of which 128 have recovered and 12 fatalities recorded. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) says it would create 20 testing centers in Lagos State for collection of samples from people suspected to have contracted COVID-19. NCDC Director General Chikwe Ihekweazu, who disclosed this at a press conference of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, said its samples would be taken to the molecular laboratories in Lagos for testing. Meanwhile, Minister for Health Osagie Hanire has said that the testing capacity in the country has been expanded to include all those with fever and respiratory tract symptoms. Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, has commenced community testing for COVID-19 as the government scales up efforts to curb the spread of the disease. In a tweet on Thursday, the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Ihekweazu, said the agency had increased its testing capacity. According to the NCDC boss, the agency is planning to test 1,000 samples daily in Abuja and other parts of the country. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed has dismissed as false reports suggesting that one of the Chinese doctors that recently arrived in Nigeria had tested positive for COVID-19. Mohammed, who is also a member of the Presidential Task Force, stated this on Wednesday during the PTF daily media briefing. News that the Chinese medical experts were coming into the country had split opinion, with the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors and the Nigerian Medical Association describing the intervention as an embarrassment to its members. The federal government has approved about 200 billion naira for the power sector to boost the supply of gas to the electricity generating companies. Gencos, Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Meli Kyari, who announced this, says the provision was part of the government's effort to boost electricity supply during the lockdown period in the country. President Donald Trump vowed to unveil plans on Thursday to reopen the world's top economy following cautious moves in Europe, claiming that the U.S. had passed the peak of the coronavirus crisis despite a record daily death toll since emerging in China late last year. The pandemic has turned the world upside down, forcing half of humanity indoors and catapulting the global economy towards a second Great Depression. The death toll has topped 133,000, with more than 2 million infected, with nearly 2,600 dying in the past 24 hours in the U.S. alone. Former Manchester United star Marouane Fellaini has recovered from COVID-19, with the player admitting after he was discharged that the hardest part is behind him. The Shandong Luneng star, who was diagnosed with the disease on March 22nd, was discharged from a Chinese hospital on Tuesday. Fellaini, who's 32, was thankful to the staff of the hospital who helped in his recovery from the pandemic. And that's the latest from the newsroom. Many thanks for joining us. Bye for now.